Hey everybody, welcome to me and Laura. I don't even know if we have a name for what we're doing. It's just me and Laura talking about pop culture, which I like. I know it's not snappy. I know we're probably not going to get picked up by CNN. We'll have to come up with a funner name or a more snappy and inventive name. But this is, you and I are talking pop culture, which is good for me. Laura, you're going to yell at me, and you should. Please scream at me and say mean things because I deserve it. I talk to you each week about, oh man, Laura, I don't have time to watch this good stuff. Like you're giving me good recommendations over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh, the NFL, Big Brother, I can't watch it. Well, Big Brother's done. Thank God. The season's over. We're now in the off season. NFL's still going on. But last night, I watched a little bit of the Guardians game. That was a fun game. But afterwards, I'm like, what do I watch? So I turned on Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh, it's the new Travis Kelsey game show. Are you smarter than a celebrity? Laura, I don't like game shows. But for like a lemming, like a mental patient, I hit play like, oh, I've got to hit play. I watched it for an hour and it wasn't terrible, but I'm like, I lost an hour and I'm not going to get back.
Well, the
And
question is, are you smarter than a celebrity?
the questions weren't that hard. And I'm sure, you and I are more learned. Maybe we know more than other people, but it wasn't like compelling questions. It wasn't,
Who are the
it's just,
celebrities?
uh, well, I hate to say,
Were
I
they
actually
actual
like,
celebrities?
um, I'll tell you, I like them, which doesn't mean much because I like quirky people that no one else probably likes or cares about. Nikki Glazer, she's a comic. I think she's funny. She's a little edgy at times, but she makes me
Mhm.
laugh. I like edgy comedy, like you like your horror, movies and everything. Natasha Leggero, I've watched specials of her in the past. Yeah, she's not as well known, but she's kind of funny. Ron Funches, which I'm not. Ron Funches doesn't do much for me. Do you know who he is?
What was the name?
Ron Funches, kind of a stocky guy. He was on some sitcoms. I think he's a
Oh,
comic. Funches.
I know
Um,
who that is. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's all
funny.
right. Yeah, I mean he's okay. I wouldn't watch the show for Ron Funches, but I didn't turn it off when I saw Ron Funches either. Nikki Glazer, I like. Natasha Leggero, I don't think she's done that much else recently, but I kind of like her. Since Travis Kelsey was the host, they had to have a football player on. So they had Chad Ochocinco, the former Chad Johnson, who played for the
Nice.
Bengals. Eh, I don't know. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it was meh. I mean, probably
Yeah.
wasn't the worst thing ever on TV, but it was like, but you know why they do these shows? They're cheap. I mean, you can
Mhm.
get regular schmoes like you and me on. The top prize is $100,000, which for us is like life changing money. But for TV, I mean, you can't do a sitcom and pay someone under 100,000 episode, so it's cheap. It just didn't do much. Is it because it's cheaper entertainment? Is that why we're seeing more of these? I guess right.
Yeah. I mean, I have to wonder about the choice of Kelsey though, because like,
Mm-hmm.
is that what his life's going to be going forward? Is he going to
Well,
be the entertainment guy? I don't
and
know.
I hate saying this, and the Kelsey family comes from Youngstown. See, I'm in not Youngstown, sorry, Cleveland. So
Yeah,
somebody may be
Cleveland
listening in.
Heights, I think.
Yeah, but I hate to be mean about this, but the Kelseys are kind of
I
charismatic
think they're
guys.
fine. I think they're fine in small bursts. You know,
Well,
um, I
yeah,
I have questions about Travis Kelsey. Like, I obviously am not that big of a football fan right now. What
right.
is his status? Is he even playing? Is he hurt or something?
He's playing a couple years ago. He was like the man. He was like probably your
Right.
top tight end in the NFL. He's getting a little
Hmm.
older now, and I think
Okay.
the Chiefs have been good for a while, And I think for a long time, he was their top option. And I think some defenses are kind of like, oh, we got to take this guy away. So he's not producing as much. But I don't
Oh,
think it's
okay.
because he stinks. I think it's because teams are kind of throwing more defense his way where more other guys are open. But see,
Because I
Kelsey's
saw
kind
because I saw something. Was he benched for a while, or they just didn't use him in games?
they weren't using him as much, but I think part of it was just they didn't have that many other receivers for a while, so defenses were keying on him and taking him away from the game. Because
Okay.
like the Chiefs used to have a bunch of good receivers and Travis Kelsey, so Kelsey had more room to be open. Where now the Chiefs are Travis Kelsey. So they've been able to develop other guys to do other things, but when he's the top of the end, everyone has their focus right on Travis Kelsey.
Okay.
But he's not making it easy on himself. And again, I have no reason to doubt his relationship with Taylor Swift. I've heard some things saying, hey,
Yeah.
they're actually in love. Great. If you're in love with Taylor Swift, wonderful. Hey, it's hard to find great relationships. If you can find it, go for it. That's great. But for the Chiefs, if you're not producing as much, and now you're gallivanting around with Taylor Swift, you're on this Amazon Prime show. He's like the star of this FX show called Grotesque, right?
Really?
Yeah, it's like a weird name. It's like Grotesquerie or something. Yeah, but that's starting now too. Now, here's the controversy about it. The show's airing now, but obviously they taped it a while back, probably during the summer or maybe the
Right.
previous summer. It's not like they're taping it now. And I'm sure that this game show he's on, they taped it months ago. But there's some fans out there that are kind of upset saying, hey, Travis Kelsey's not doing a lot right now. He's on all these TV shows. So some people are like, is he distracted? Is he distracted with his relationship with Taylor Swift and the fact he's on a game show and he's starring in like a
Yeah.
horror drama show? I don't know what to make of it, but on the game shows, it's like since it's such cheap entertainment now, it's like everyone's got a game show. It's like, we have a podcast, everyone has their own podcast. Now everyone has a game show. It seems like we've
Right.
flooded the market too much with these game shows.
There's like the. I am definitely not a game show person.
Right.
I get irritated by them because, and I think a lot of it came from the fact that like when my dad was sick and we used to take him to the doctor, you would go to waiting rooms and the game shows would always be on and the
Yeah.
volume would be super high and there's people like screaming on them all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just so annoying. There was a show, and I don't remember when this was. I think it was TBS. It was
Mhm.
called The Cube. Did you ever see that one? The Cube?
Huh. Was that Dwayne Wade? Or
Yes,
am I okay.
it is. It was. I liked that show because it was like
Okay.
an actual you actually had to do something
Mhm.
and like you had to accomplish something. You didn't just have to answer stupid questions that were trying to make you look like you were stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't as much yelling, but I could only stand that in like small bursts. I can't watch like the game show channel. Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah.
if I had the game show channel, I would probably never watch TV because of the chance that I might
Yeah.
actually end up on the game show channel at some point. I just have no
Well,
desire for that.
we have a Roku, and they don't have a game show channel, but like Roku has all these like free channels now, and there's like
Mm,
all these like Price is Right channel where all they do is have old Price is Right episodes. It's kind of weird. I
that's the
will say
worst, man.
I'll agree with 99.9% of what you're saying. The only challenge I would present, a couple months ago, I got to interview. The Price is Right has a road show. I didn't know about this, but
Yeah,
it was coming to Youngstown, so they put me in touch with the guy who runs it. And actually, Todd Newton. I don't know much about him, but I guess he's been on a bunch of game show network channels. He hasn't hosted anything super big, but it was very interesting from talking to him. I was like trying to say, well, what does Bob Barker do with it? You know, because he's done this traveling roadshow for like 25 years or whatever. Apparently, Bob Barker, when he was alive, was in regular contact with this guy. And Todd Newton was telling me stories about how he and Bob Barker, Bob would give all this great career advice and everything that was really cool. And so, I mean, I guess my heart softened a little bit toward Bob Barker. I would say the only game show, in my opinion, that would work. And the problem is there's way too many game shows right now. We've oversaturated the market with them. I want a compelling personality that if you watch it because you like the host a lot. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
Bob Barker, and I haven't watched that much of his old stuff, and believe me, I don't want to waste a bunch of time doing that now. But I want a guy where you would watch it like you would watch a podcast, where yeah, the game's part of it, you can tell those stories and everything. But I want a quirky guy where I'm like, hey, Bob Barker was fun to watch today. Look what he's talking about. And I'm not sure if Bob Barker was that guy or not. But if we have a guy that's compelling, I think it might be interesting. Like maybe Alex Trebek. I think near toward the end, you started to see more of his personality. Maybe somebody like that would be compelling. But again, they're not there yet. Like I want someone who I could be like, wow, what a funny guy and everything. And even the game show part of it could be like neutral. You're watching because you like that guy. And I don't think we found that in game shows at all.
Yeah. I think like they come like old game shows. I mean, they used to have like the same like 4 or 5 guys that hosted them, you know, and it was all these people that had been around during the payola days and where the fixing of stuff was, you know. I don't know. Did you ever see that movie Quiz Show?
Oh yeah, great movie.
Like a true story, which I love that movie. It's really good.
Yeah,
But it's a true story about, you know, cheating and, you know, and that's how it used to be. You know, you have to hope that it's not that way now. I sort of assume it's not, which, you know, again, you know, let's hope. But it's like they're constantly putting these shows on, and you know, I stumble on them and I'm like, I don't even know what this game is, you know, and I have no desire to watch it, you know, to try to get involved, you know, because it's like you turn on the channel and it's all this screaming, you know. It's just, and they don't, I think because they don't, my guess is because they don't have to pay a lot for them and they have other ones in development, they don't leave them on the shelf, or they don't leave them on for very long. And they put them on the shelf pretty quickly if they don't hit, you know. You know, there's one guy, when I saw that Travis Kelce was going to have that show, there's one guy that I'm kind of fascinated by, but I don't really know that much about him. You would probably know. Do you know who Nate Burleson is? He used to play football.
Yeah, and he's been doing a ton lately. Like I guess he's on one of the morning shows now. I think.
Yes, he's on CBS Morning Show.
Yeah,
and he's like one of the main hosts, and he also does NFL football on Sunday, and he also has some kind of show on, I want to say Nickelodeon,
okay,
that he like puts himself in, like out there in. I mean, it's kind. I have the impression it's kind of like remember the old, like, you know, where they would spam each other and like put goop on each other's type shows. I think it's something like that, but he's really geared for that kind of thing because he has a really good personality. Like he can be silly, but he can also be serious, you know. I just don't see that in Travis Kelce, you know. I don't see the ability to have, like, you know, a different kind of handled, like all kinds of different content, you know.
yeah. Well, Fox used to do that with Michael Strahan because, like, he was the.
Yeah.
I think he's still on that show. I don't watch the pre games as much anymore, but he was on that. I think he was a host with Kelly for a while, and didn't he
Then he
do
went to
Good Morning
ABC.
America for a while? Yeah. And
I don't know what he does now, actually. if he's
Well,
still on there or not.
didn't he take somebody off? Like, I don't know if he had a bad personality or
No,
something. I know some people
he,
don't like him for some
he
reason. I'm not sure
when
why.
he left Kelly and
Was
Michael,
it
or
Kelly?
Michael and Kelly, whoever it was, they had like
Oh,
a
yeah.
big feud. Like when
Okay.
my first year in Canton was when he went into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
When he was on the show at that point, and she came there and she was like very supportive of him. Not long after that, he left. And apparently it was like highly traumatic when he left. But I don't see him as that fun compared to like Nate Burleson. When he first joined CBS, I was like, I didn't know that much about him. And he seemed like he would be a really good guy for like the light stories, but he's actually I think he's doing really well, with with more serious news. But he's also a goof, which helps. He's really good on like finance news and that kind of stuff. Probably because he makes $1 billion because from football and but I just don't see that from Travis Kelce. I think maybe they were just trying to put him in all these different situations because they want to see what he can do for when he retires.
Well, let's be harsh for a second. I hate to say this. I'd be ticked if I was Travis Kelce. Okay, you're dating Taylor Swift, great. You might be in love, great. If you could find your partner, wonderful, good for him. But the hard thing about it is, okay, you've got this, high profile relationship. Well, now you're starting to see some pluses come. He had the podcast with his brother, the New Heights podcast, that was pretty good beforehand, but got a ton more attention once he started dating Taylor Swift. They just signed. I don't know if you heard about this, $100 million deal. Could you imagine that if we got $100 million to do a podcast? And again, that's that alone. That's Jason Kelsey's on ESPN, but you're getting $100 million from the podcast you're doing alone. So it's very lucrative, and it leads to some other questions. Okay, well, does he get the game show if he's not dating? Taylor Swift. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
I don't know. I mean, they were kind of like the two of them were kind of goofy before her.
Yeah,
I think. There was. There was like a whole year with Kelce before they started seeing each other that he was like trying to meet her. Because he liked her so much, and it was very entertaining. But I don't know. I think the brother helps a lot because he's kind of a goof too. I think I think he brings the silly out in Travis Kelce. I don't know. As soon as he retires, he's probably going to be gone. Because he's going to be with her. They're going to get married and have kids. They're both in their 30s. It's not. They don't have a lot of time, but he's going to be taking care of the kids.
They were both grade B celebrities, but I think they both shifted to A because of Taylor Swift. And to Travis Kelce's credit, and again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think they're dating just because of that, but I think that's kind of a perk that comes from it. It's like, okay, I recently switched jobs. I'm doing management for a PR agency in Columbus. Well, I've gotten some perks that I didn't think of when I first took the job that I've heard of that are really nice. Now, did I take the job because of those perks? No, but some things happen because I took a job like that. So, I'm assuming, and I hope the same is true of Travis Kelce, where, he fell in love, that's great, and some things are happening because he's in love with probably the top pop star in the world right now. So, and again, I don't think he's doing that on purpose. I think when you're dating a Taylor Swift, stuff is going to start happening that it wouldn't if you're not. You know what I mean? So,
right.
And hopefully for him, it's
if she wasn't on that tour when they basically came out in public, I don't think it would have been what it is. But here she's like the biggest thing for a summer. She's her shows. She's kind of like not around that much. You know, she went to the Guardians game with him. Was it both games? I can't remember. But
Yeah, and that
they
became
had
huge.
some attention then, but she hasn't been on stage, she hasn't been doing anything, she hasn't been, there's no new album or anything. So, it I don't know. I mean, I wish them the best. I hope they do get married,
Right.
because I mean, I just looked while you were talking, they're both older than I thought they were. He's 35 years old
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's 34. I mean, she's been around for a long time.
Well, and
you
that
know.
might be the thing too, because as a pop star, I mean, depending on what she wants to do, I mean, she's got at least probably 10, 15, 20 years of pop stardom. NFL,
Mhm.
you're lucky to make it to 40 when you play, and that's probably lucky to be 40. So he's
Right.
probably like, hey, what's next? And I think he had a chance of doing stuff if he didn't date Taylor Swift, but it's like, why not? And again, I don't think they're
Mhm.
secretly saying, how do we, get you more attention, whatever. But hey, if that
No.
attention comes, why not take it? Good for him. Let me throw this out. This is kind of unrelated, but I think we need to talk about this during this segment. Here's what I miss. And I got the vibe from watching this show. It was almost like I see celebrities where they're like, "Hey, let's do each other's podcast." So the podcast becomes a time they can hang out. In essence, it's even what we're doing here, and we're not celebrities. I miss the talk shows where people just sit and talk, like Larry King. I know Larry King's dead and gone, but
Yeah.
I should have watched more Larry King when I got the chance because it was nice when he had some celebrity or big politician or star or whatever for just a sit down for 40 minutes where he can ask whatever he wants to do. I know, and you would think you're like, it's 2024, we're past this. But there's a lot of podcasts like New Heights podcasts and other podcasts where we do that. Maybe what could save network TV a little bit, or even this other TV, is have compelling interview shows.
Yeah.
You think there's a chance? No, I don't want to have every podcast to have like an hour on network TV, but like the Barbara Walters had like a special. And again, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to see Trump and Harris on there every week talking about
Right.
their crap, but just fascinating
You know what
people.
I
Like,
miss? You know what I miss Larry King for? When there was a big news story, at
yeah,
the end of the day, he would be there to he would bring all these different, correspondents and people and even victims or whatever, whatever the story happened to be together, or like a big celebrity death. Because I've been thinking about something in
yeah,
the past few weeks. We're starting to see all of these people who were huge stars that are starting to die because a lot of these stars have made it into their 90s and now they're dying. That's where Larry King was the best, because kids today, they have no idea who these people are. Like Mitzi Gaynor died the other day. Nobody knows who Mitzi Gaynor is, but she was
yeah.
huge. You know, it's crazy.
Well, and the thing I liked about Larry King at the time was there was a good time. And again, we're news people, so there's probably people that we get more geeked up about that other people wouldn't. But there was a time where like every night you're like, whoa, that's a good guess. If it was a sports guy
Yeah.
or a politician or whoever. And I kind of miss it. And again, I know we can't have like, okay, tonight on NBC there's 3 different talk shows. I get that. But I think there's a place for that. And even in the Travis Kelsey show, like I see Nikki Glazer, and I like Nikki Glazer. I'll watch something for Nikki Glazer, but it almost seems like she was on the Tom Brady roast and other stuff, which is great. But it's like we're all making the rounds. And instead of doing these sappy game shows where we're trying to milk a sappy story from some random person on the show, let's have, Nikki Glazer's kind of edgy, but she's fun. Yeah, I know she probably has podcasts where she does that stuff on, but I'm kind of into watching that more. We'll talk later about what we're watching, and I'm into the shows we talk about, but man, I watch that. But let's have some more compelling people. There's way too many like political talk shows on. Like Rogan will have more, political people and everything. I just want find the compelling person of the day and have them on, and I'd watch that. It should be good. So.
Yeah,
All right.
it depends.
Uh,
I, I don't want to watch the politics, so I try
well,
to
and
not
that's the
watch as much as humanly
well.
possible. What do you think about
eh, eh,
like the talk? What do you think about the nighttime talk shows? Do you ever watch any of them? Like I don't watch them because I first of all I can't stay up that late, but I'm
well,
like
you mean
now currently like I'm like on this Colin Farrell kick and
okay?
um because of Penguin. And I watched all of those nighttime talk shows when they had him on. Granted, a lot of the questions were the same, but some of them were kind of like interesting things that he was saying about the show. You know, um, it's not. Some of them are silly, but some of them are actually pretty good. Like Colbert is a pretty good interviewer. I love the fact that I don't like Colbert talking about politics, but I like when he talks to his guests when he has them on. You know, I
I
don't
think
like Fallon that much because he's
yeah,
just too silly. It's too much crap.
yeah,
I like Kimmel. He's okay. Seth Meyers is actually a pretty good interviewer, I
yeah,
think. So,
yeah. I would say Colbert and Seth Meyers do the best job of that.
mhm.
And maybe if now, granted, he's got the late show, so I'm sure Colbert's not going to transition to a talk show format. But yeah, if it were to be done, I think Colbert does a good job. The problem with Seth Meyers, people don't know who he is, but in some ways that's
Right.
good because Fallon's so fluffy anymore, and Kimmel. I
Yeah.
like the political humor, but I'll be honest, I've been a lot more into the Daily Show recently, and the Daily Show kind of kicks Kimmel's butt up and down. And I don't think Kimmel's bad, but you compare him to Daily Show, you're like, oh my goodness, Daily Show's lapping him. But
Yeah, but that's
but
what I'm
see,
saying. But that's what I'm saying. To me, the Daily Show is a little too political. It's all about
yeah, that's true.
it's
That's
all
true.
about the news of the day, and that's not what I'm watching it for.
Right,
That's
right.
not what I'm watching those other shows for. Like, I'm more into hearing people talk about the show that they're on or something that they're doing. You know,
Well, I want to see like a Larry King thing back where whoever that person is, and granted, we're in a season where it's got to be a little bit political, but I just want to be like, whoa, here's the guy, like Colin
yeah,
Farrell. Okay, he's in the Penguin, big show right now. I want somebody that will amaze me night in, night out. So it's either like, hey, the big story of the day, like if some woman got rescued from death or whatever, have that person on. You're like, whoa, what interesting story. I want to hear it. Or if it's Colin Farrell, or yeah, if you have to throw a politician mix one time or the other. Yeah, I think Colbert could handle that pretty well. And I hate to be critical of Seth Meyers, but I don't know if Seth Meyers has a gravitas of a lot of people for that to shine, but I think Colbert would do well with it. So it should be good. All right. Well, Laura, I didn't tell you this before. We're going to do a couple segments. So let me pause for a second and we'll be right back.